Hi, my friends. Welcome to the program. You're watching Andrew Richter, the television show. Always great to have you join us every Thursday night, Channel 19, 6 p.m., as we march here in Season 5 of the program. As some of you might know, at least the people who watch this show, some of you might not know this, though, that we actually have some elections in odd years. There's odd year elections coming up this November, and one of the cities in our area, here in the northwest suburbs, that has elections for city council here in 2013 is the city of Golden Valley. And we're pleased to be joined today by Jacquelyn Smith, who is running for city council in Golden Valley. Jacquelyn, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Appreciate you taking the time to talk to the audience here. Why don't you tell the folks at home who you are and introduce yourself to the audience.
Sure. Well, my name is Jacquelyn Smith, and I am a lifelong resident of Golden Valley. Years ago, my grandparents Vera and Lee Smith were one of the first people to build a house on Farmer Sweeney's Twin Lake. They've also built a lot of little businesses like the A&W root beer stand that is on Highway 100 in Crystal. That's for one. My dad graduated from Robbinsdale, Robbinsdale High School. He was an MP in the Army and also worked at Honeywell in Golden Valley. So I grew up in District 281 and went to Cooper and Armstrong. We were in Robbinsdale for a little bit, then we moved over to Golden Valley in my junior year, and so I graduated from Armstrong and went to North Hennepin Community College. I've studied theater, TV productions, and political science. I have a very diverse background. I have 30 years of working in film and TV productions as a makeup artist. I've worked both ends, so makeup artist, production assistant. I've also done talent and performing and writing. I have 15 years of successful sales and marketing. I worked several years for Merrill Lynch doing investments and annuities. I've also worked for Chase Manhattan up in the mountains of Colorado. I lived in Colorado for 4 years. I worked in the mortgage department there, so I worked with $1 million properties, so big numbers don't scare me. And I also
that's
worked,
good.
Yeah.
Some of these budgets, yeah.
Yeah, I really. I've also worked for Farmers Insurance, and I did both residential and business. Commercial, thank you. Commercial insurance as well. And now living in Golden Valley, my son he's 13 now, and he's in the Hopkins. Golden Valley has 2 school districts, and he's in Hopkins 270 school district.
Okay. Well, that's
7th
great.
grade.
Quite the background there. Some stuff I didn't even know. With that background, you've decided to jump into this Golden Valley race, and we should mention to the folks out there that there's 2 open seats. 2 candidates decided not to run again.
Yep.
And then there's a special election to fill out. You're in the big one.
Yes, 4-year terms.
4-year term. So there's how many candidates now? 9?
There's 8 candidates for 2 at-large seats.
Okay.
And then there's 2 or 3 candidates for the 2-year term.
Okay, so there's going to be 2 new council people no matter what.
Yep.
Well, what's brought you to this point? I mean, what pushed you over the edge to make you want to serve? That can be an open-ended question, but everybody comes to it from a different background or a different reason. I mean, what prompted you to
We
do
have
this?
some issues that are vital and very important to the future of Golden Valley. Golden Valley is a lovely place to live. We have very low crime. We have great parks and recreation areas and trails. We have an okay traffic flow. We're 10 minutes from downtown. So we're kind of big city, but we're still small town. And things like the Botanu light rail coming to town and being built on our historical park and wetlands really concerns me. And a lot of other citizens. A lot of us are for rail. I like rail. I've used it in other cities, in East Coast, West Coast, Chicago, and it works with 4 million people for your population. I don't see how that would work for Golden Valley. I don't know if it's the right choice, and especially with the location of where they're planning for their site, for their little stop. it doesn't make any sense. It's not common sense. Other things like spending, it seems like we're trying to keep up with the Joneses. Instead of just being Golden Valley, we have to have roundabouts now and bike lanes. And why can't we just be little Golden Valley? So I'm concerned about the spending budget and protecting that quality of life in Golden Valley.
Okay. Well, you brought up the light rail, so I'm going to jump into that. I mean, it's a subject we've talked about on this show a million times, and I'm sure we will on and on and on. Now, Golden Valley originally voted against the light rail about
correct,
a year or
yeah.
two ago.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Then they voted for it.
More recently, yeah.
Yeah, last 6 or 8 months ago
Yep.
or something.
Yep.
And then I watched one of the council meetings where there were a lot of, and you're right in your assessment. The opinion, some people favored it, didn't like the route. Some people don't like it at all. Some people, opinion is varied on the subject. Let's
Right.
put it that way. What's your take in talking to residents, in doing your own research? Is light rail something that is a part of the future? Is it the route that we shouldn't do? Is it worth doing at all?
Well, I just don't know if it's a great choice. Who benefits from it, Hennepin County or Golden Valley? Hennepin County has admitted that the bus system, which will still be running, is 3 minutes faster than light rail, which is kind of funny. Also, the light rail is, they're having problems in the south end of light rail. That's down in Bloomington. The citizens are very unhappy with that as well. One of the selling points of Hennepin County is that you're 10 minutes from downtown. And all the citizens, I attended a meeting. It was a forum of where to put, there's there's several proposed locations, but the Hennepin County decided on two. One is by the golf course, Theodore-Worth Golf Course, where the little golf building is. So they'd put the station there. Or the other option is to put it by the Courage Center, which is, if you've driven down Golden Valley Road, first of all, it's not a very big road to support a lot of traffic. Then we're going to tar over wetlands, which, that there's a lot of design work and issues, building on wetland. Does it, it's unstable.
Can't just pave over water, can you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then it interrupts an environment, a peaceful environment. We're bringing in more light pollution into our community. It's a very peaceful, if you've ever been there, it's very peaceful. Some other sites, just as a side note, were by St. Margaret Mary's Church, or our fire department. Put the location right where the fire department is.
Well, then you can get to the fire quicker. They can.
Well, exactly. But also the fire department is right in that area, and we're going to have a train coming through there. It's crippling, the transportation of the fire department. What if there's a train coming by? How many vital, crucial minutes are we waiting for a train? Trying to have our fire trucks go through the neighborhoods. But things like Hennepin County also states that we had this little packet, states that Golden Valley Road is in poor condition. Well, why aren't we maintaining our roads before getting light rail?
Or do that instead.
Right.
Spend the money on
exactly,
that.
Right. And at this meeting, Hennepin County was very, they just came in and kind of elbowed their way in. There was a great crowd of people. There were probably like about 80 people that attended this meeting. And they broke us down into two groups, for each station. And
so it wasn't a forum where you could ask questions?
Oh, no, you weren't supposed to ask questions.
Oh.
If you had a question, you had to go out of the room and go ask your question. Well, I just stood up and asked a question. I asked them who the design team was. And the design team were, deer in headlights. So somebody asked a question, and they started to talk over me, so I asked the question again. And Hennepin County grabbed the microphone. The first words out of their mouth are, "We don't need any negative comments." How is that a negative comment, asking who the design team is?
So in other words, they came in with plans, just said,
"Yep,
this is what we're doing,
Yep.
Like it or not."
Oh, and they had a fancy digital video of, what the train's going to look like as it travels through our wetlands and park system. And
one of the things I know in Crystal, they're taking a page out of the Met Council. That's how the Met Council does a public hearing. You can't talk. You can only write down questions or something like that.
Right.
One of the things that really worries me, because the Botno project, I live in Crystal, but the Botno project goes literally a block or two from my house.
Sure.
It literally cuts our city in half where I live.
Right.
And one of the things that worries me is what they want to build around these things.
Oh, sure.
Because it doesn't stop with the light rail. Then they want more high density. They want more bike. It's always. What are what the plans are in Golden Valley?
We have several high density projects.
Yeah.
One is that many citizens were against was a senior retirement home.
Yeah.
I think it's called 394.
Yeah, that's right.
And they were very against it. That it has they're renting bikes and having storage and having basketball courts built, and seniors, with knee replacements and hip replacements and things, are playing basketball. I'm sure they can dunk.
Maybe horse. Some of them got a good hook shot.
No, I'm sure many seniors do play basketball, but it's just is that proper spending of our dollars? And I'm kind of a person. We're spending all this time and resources for apartments, and I know that people in apartments pay taxes and things, but I grew up where your dream is to have the little pink house and the white picket fence, and not live in. I can see for a single person or maybe an elderly or older couples, but I think everyone's
it's a
dream.
transitional thing.
Yeah, and 71% of the residents are in homes, residential homes or condominiums. So the rest is all. But boy, we're just building that high density, and as a gentleman at the light rail meeting said, is a lot of this stuff from Hennepin County seems his quote. He's a 44-year resident of Golden Valley. His quote was, "Hennepin County is jamming this down our throats." And so a lot of people are starting to get sick of that, especially with the light rail. They want it. A lot of people are for it, but they want it to go into a different area. They want it to go into downtown Golden Valley. They don't want it to just go through our wetlands. And I can guarantee you, as a city council member, if I was a city council member attending that meeting where they were so arrogant and forceful with people, you can bet I'd grab that microphone and remind them that residents pay for their salaries and they're going to respect us.
Yeah, I can attest that I believe that when she says that. Well, we touched on development a little bit. There's some changes with roads in Golden Valley as well that I know restriping and putting in roundabout. What can you share about the plans and what you think of them?
There is we have the Douglas Drive redesign project, which actually there's some good things to it. It's a $23 million project with it's for 1.5 miles of road.
Yeah,
by the way.
Just goes from
55 to Medicine Lake Road.
Okay, so that's okay.
And there's a good business. It's kind of in a business district, and then there's also residential homes as well. $13 million of that comes from the Hennepin County. So that's coming from the what is it? The TLC, the Transit
for Livable Communities.
Yeah. So that's a grant.
There's strings attached.
There's grants. They want it to be done their way or the highway, and so again, we're keeping up with the Joneses. The city of Golden Valley is acquiring 5 homes to put in 2 roundabouts, plus bike paths, my favorite thing, bike paths and sidewalks. The roundabouts.
Where do they not have sidewalks? Where are they going to put them?
Well, actually, on that area, there's a lot of apartment buildings as well. It comes around. It's kind of the Super Americas. It goes up to Sandburg.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. Where Honeywell used to be.
Yeah. Honeywell's still there. Yep.
Oh yeah.
So
it's just not the Honeywell it used to be.
Right.
So I call
and
it.
So we do need some sidewalks in there, and the street could need some updating and some lighting. That's another subject. Some lighting, but so the sidewalks and the road construction, the redesign, I understand, but there's not one roundabout, but 2. One of the roundabouts will be down by Golden Valley Road, and then the other roundabout will be up by Sandburg. Now, I lived in the mountains for 4 years, and we have roundabouts there. There are no studies saying that this improves the flow of traffic. It does slow down traffic. As a homeowner, I don't know if I want traffic hanging out by my house longer than it needs to be. In fact, in Woodbury, KS95 had a story about when the Woodbury roundabouts opened, the residents have more noises because people were honking, and you basically have cars idling in front of your house. Another thing about roundabouts is being in Minnesota winter driving, which is a little different from the mountains because it's very icy here. If there's an accident in the roundabout, you have no way of going around. You sit and wait until an accident is cleared.
So why do they want it? Do they just want it because somebody else is paying for it?
Well, I think it has to do with the requirements of the grant from Hennepin County. So I'm not a roundabout fan. Some people are like, oh yeah, well, why don't we just maintain our roads instead of putting roundabouts in?
So are they taking out the light at Golden Valley Road and putting, because isn't there a light there on Douglas Drive and Golden Valley Road?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that one stays because the Honeywell parking lot is connected to it. So it's basically 55, then you come down, there's a stoplight on Golden Valley Road, so they're going to replace that with the roundabout. And the wonderful landscaping to go with it. And the thing about the landscaping as well is you can't see through the roundabout. So they have all these beautiful plants for all these plants and things, and high grasses and things. So that's, and then they're putting bike paths. So do bikes come through? Do they have their own lane to come through? Hopefully they'll have a trail on the other side, but there's a lot of things. Another thing too, in the southwestern part of the state, there's a lot of roundabouts that have been in, and a lot of trucks have problems going through them. They're spilling their loads.
Yeah, believe
Fire
me,
trucks going through, and the plows. They're going to take up those corners, and so we're going to have to. We're guaranteed it happened in the mountains. It's plowing through there. They'll take up the corners of the concrete, and we'll have to go in and more maintenance.
Believe me, I know my grandmother lives in Hutchinson, and there's roundabouts on just the weirdest in the middle of nowhere. I'm flabbergasted by them. I used to think it was funny, but the more roundabouts I see, the less funny it becomes.
Sure. Well, they're saying reducing speed too. Well, it's 1.5 miles, and you have 2 roundabouts.
And 2 lights or something.
Even
like
without
that.
the roundabouts, it's hard to pick up a lot of speed in that area. So their selling points just are another thing where we lack common sense.
Well, let me ask, you talked about the budget earlier and the levels of spending. Golden Valley just passed a preliminary budget a couple of weeks ago, and I know you've been studying the budget and looking at it.
I'm getting to know it very well.
Yeah. What do you think about the budget? What can you share with the? Yeah.
This is
Take
our
a look
budget.
at that.
And then there are the proposed budget, other funds. So this is basically our budget, and I've been told it's actually comparable to some other cities, but it's really heavy. There's a tax levy proposal increase of 2.9%, and that's geared towards a $17 million proposed 2014-2015 budget. And basically, I believe it's a $3 million increase from 2011. So where are we spending that money? Are we getting, our taxpayers, they're paying for things. I don't know if we know everything where we're going. I was watching Channel 12 and saw on the Mural Minutes, Mayor Harris from Golden Valley admitted or said that in Golden Valley, we have a surplus of $1.2 million. And it sounds like the council right now, the existing members and the mayor, have plans to spend this money instead of refunding our taxpayers. I mean, it's a perfect way to help out the taxpayer and say, hey, you guys have been doing great for us, we're going to give back.
Not to mention the one of the things that happened in the legislative session, and I know we've talked about it a little bit on this show, but local government aid was changed. Golden Valley has not gotten local government aid recently. They are now getting $219,000 next year.
LGA, we're getting local government aid, and we're still spending money. So it's
at least they're consistent.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the budget. I mean, it's such an open-ended question to ask about the budget. It's like I said, folks. I mean, take a peek at it. It is not small here. Look at this. No, that's not a new federal law. That's a budget for a city of 20,000 people.
Right, right.
Let me jump on another thing. I know you've studied. Cities every couple of years put together a citizen survey.
Right.
And I know we did it in Crystal. I'm still waiting for the city of Crystal to call me. I don't know. I always speak so highly of them. I don't know why they haven't. But I know it's something you have and you've gone through and you've really looked at. What can you share about what the residents have given back as feedback?
Sure. I have it right here, our little survey. Something that I was surprised about, and they asked things like, are you happy with the services? And
they don't ask the toughest questions.
How much do you know? How concerned are you about issues? Do you think you're safe? Do you feel safe? Do you feel empowered? Which was my favorite question in the whole thing, empowerment, which is crazy. And so they compare it over time from like 2010 up to now to the present, and things like. The garbage haulers has been an issue for the last few years, to just going down to one single hauler instead of having choice.
So having the city make the contract and do the negotiating.
Yep.
Yeah.
Over your own freedom of choice, because you probably wouldn't know how to pick out a garbage collection
of course
by yourself. The city government would know better for you. And that's something that the city manager, we had a candidate orientation, which was really great. It was really well planned out. They are trying to help us out here, which was very nice. But as the city planner said, we're going to take, overall, it was over 50, almost 60% of the residents favored choice. They are not into having a single, and there's a whole list of things. Oh, it wastes gas and it's noisy in the neighborhood, so let's just have them come through once, even though we still have recycling coming through. And should we limit UPS in our neighborhoods? Should they hang on and just have one delivery date for everybody in the neighborhood? So the city planner said, we're going to hang on to this. We're not giving up on this idea. We're just going to hold back on it for a little bit until we get a little more support for it. So I'm sure
they need a marketing campaign.
I'm sure the libraries will have a little.
They'll hire a consultant to tell them how to sell.
They'll have bookmarks on.
So that's not something you would favor as a council
I would
member?
not. I let the citizens make their choices. I think the citizens and residents make better choices for themselves and for their neighbors in their own neighborhoods than city government can. Another thing is the community center. It would be great to have a community center. I coach baseball and basketball, and at times it's been hard to get a gym to practice for basketball or baseball. Was really hard with all the rain. The city of Golden Valley does work with Hopkins, so we do use their facilities as well for team sports and things like that. The thing about the community center, which would be have a workout facility and things like that in it, is that 17% of the people polled out of 400 people were really going to use it. I would be one of those people. I would use it. However, 28% were a solid, absolutely not going to use it. And then there was, some people in between, oh, I might use it here and there. Well, I think that speaks, if there's 28% of people who aren't going to use it, that's almost 30%.
Yeah. And I would guess that the maybes are probably no's.
Right. I mean, or they might use it once or twice, or I think there's other options we can do.
So where are they thinking of putting that, by the way? Is that up in the air?
That's up in the air. There's a couple places, but as far as it hasn't been a solid, it's just kind of over in this area, so it'd be over kind of by Highway 55, where our community center is now, kind of in that area, which is another lot of parks and wetlands.
Yeah. So just another thing to go build, huh? Well, what anything else in the survey jump out at you? What do the Golden Valley residents, do they have to say about, is there anything they really are unhappy about, or? Or did they ask specific enough stuff in there?
Well, there's, some, people think that we have, the majority of people think that we're paying in taxes an average to a high average amount. So that, I mean, that wasn't surprising to me.
Yeah.
I know that that my neighbors, our property taxes have gone up and our property value has gone down. That's, to me, that's not okay. I have issues with that. I'm sure everybody else does too.
I can relate very much to that stuff. It seems everywhere, nobody seems to have an answer as to
Sure.
What to do.
And talking about property taxes, something that did come up in the orientation is that city planner in the property and maintenance department, they're thinking about, well, they'd like to in 2014 hire a new inspector, a housing inspector, to walk through neighborhoods and make assessments. So that they're going to go through and inspect you while you're at work. They're going to come through and look at your house and talk about your shingles and windows and where your trash is and how long your grass is. And then they're going to come after you. I mean, I don't know how to say it other than that, but they're going to, because right now we're only getting complaints from other neighbors and they're backloaded and they're backlogged and things like that. And I just don't, I don't like that.
Oh.
I think, and if I have a problem with a neighbor with something that's going on, like we have a person who parks right behind our driveway, so when you back out, you might hit their car. So I walked over and said, hey, could you just move your car? If it was something more like trash in a yard or something like that, I don't mind having neighbors call and say, this is an issue, could you come and look at it? I don't understand why we have to hire a person to come and police our streets.
Well, boy, so much for private property in Golden Valley. I guess that.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. I will not support that.
Well, good.
Yeah.
You might give Crystal ideas if we say that a little too loudly. Okay, well, we only got a little over a minute left, Jacquelyn. I
Sure.
just want to again thank you for coming on, and
thank you so much.
Why don't you tell the audience where they can find you on the web, or if they want
Sure.
to contact you? Or
I have a Facebook page. It's Jacquelyn Smith for Golden Valley City. I have an email if you'd like to contact me. It's Jack, J-A-C-Q, I'm a Jack,
Yeah.
4, the number 4, GV for Golden Valley, CC for City Council at AOL.com. So it's Jack with a Q for GVCC at AOL.com. And then I also have a website. It's Jacquelyn Smith for GVCC.com.
So can they just go to your website and kind of get around to everything?
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Okay.
And I'm looking for volunteers to help me with lit drops and maybe do some phone calling to make the citizens aware of some of the things that are going on here.
And can you get a nice big Jacquelyn yard sign on your website?
I am
too?
just ordering my line sign,
Oh,
my
okay,
lawn
good.
signs. They're red, white, and blue.
Oh, okay. Well, how fitting. Okay, well, again, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, and I've really enjoyed your program,
Yeah.
and I can't believe it's been 5 seasons. That's
5
awesome.
seasons.
You're really,
Season 6 will start in January.
yeah. I'm very humbled being on your show, so thank you
well,
very
I
much.
appreciate that. And I, once again, got a contract extension here, lucrative contract extension
Yay.
from the free public access. So, okay, well, Golden Valley residents, you contact Jacquelyn if you want to take this any further, and get out there and make sure you vote this year. If you want things in your city to change or you're against something, you got to get involved, my friends. I mean, we harp on it every week, but that's the thing to do. So thank you very much, and we will see you next week.